for Millionaire with your host, Curtis. Today we're going to talk about something a little different. This is sales techniques. I used to be a sales manager and own a company, a computer company, and I held sales meetings every single day with all of my sales reps. Every day I'd stand up and talk to them for 15 to 30 minutes, sometimes longer if necessary. Basically rallying up the troops and telling them what today's lesson was. I'd pick random things on how to sell or something we've ran into, problems, or just basic motivation. This video is going to be about not talking bad about the competition. This is a fundamental flaw in some people's techniques and in some individuals' techniques, just dealing with humans in general. Because they see someone else that let's take the sales example to start with. You're a salesperson, you're selling, and you know that your biggest competition is, I'm going to pick random company. I'm going to pick your biggest company. Your biggest competition is Apple. You're selling Android phones. I'm just picking this stuff at random, doesn't matter. If someone comes in and you're trying to sell them an Android phone and you go up to them and you say, hey, I'd like you to buy this Android phone because blah, 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 blah. They turn to you and they go, but Apple's so much better. And if you start off with, well, Apple sucks because of this, Apple sucks because of that, and Apple's blah, 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 you don't even know Apple, all these horrible things about Apple. Well, you're not going to make a sale, guys. That's not going to help. What's going to happen in the mind of the individual listening to all this is you're basically on the defensive. And that means you're on the defensive. That means you're scared of Apple. That means that Apple has credibility. And the other part of this problem is with the customer, Apple is now gaining trust and you're losing trust. They already had a lot of trust with Apple. They're already using Apple. They already have an Apple phone. They already have this huge amount of trust with Apple. So in order for you to change them from Apple to Android, you're going to have to tell them all the great things about Android, not talk about all the bad things about Apple, because they're just going to sit there and they're immediately going to go on the defensive. They're immediately going to think that, hey, what's wrong with your product that you got to talk bad about Apple? I've used Apple for years and Apple's great, right? So what you've got to do, the technique that you do use is you say, Apple's a fine product, but let me explain how great my product is. And that's when you go in depth on how great your product is and stop talking crap about competition. Guys, never talk crap about the competition. This is a sales 101 lesson. It's like in the top 10 sales techniques. I know there's like a million other sales techniques and I'll go into every single one of them. But today I had an incident today where it focused 100% on someone talking bad about the competition, and it's so frustrating when someone does this seemingly stupid move, and that's what frustrates me the most is when it's like amateur hour. If you're going to be a professional, if you're going to go out there in the world and you're going to get things done and be a professional salesperson or be a professional individual and you're trying to persuade people, the first thing you need to do is not talk crap about the competition. Now, obviously, there's differences. Obviously, if I do a video and I'm talking bad about a company and I'm making a joke or funny or whatever, that's a whole different situation. I'm actually trying to persuade you to buy my product or to make a decision about my decision, my way, and I'm talking bad about the decision that you've already made in your head and trying to persuade you. And all that does is add more credibility to you and weaken my case. People don't understand this. They listen. Salespeople don't understand this. Sometimes there's a lot of good salespeople out there that do understand this. A lot of my sales reps, they used to come to me and say, hey, Curtis, tell me, I keep hearing XYZ company. They keep saying, hey, we need to order from ADI or something. I'm just going to pick a random name. We need to order. They say, I currently order from ADI, and that's my company. And they would say, well, what do I need to do? Do I need to talk bad about ADI? Do I need to say and I say, no, don't say anything about ADI. What you simply say is, ADI is a great company. And then you immediately move into your sales presentation. Guys, this translates over also into, this is one of the only sales techniques, and this is the great part about this. This is one of the very few sales techniques that also translates over into women. Women are the same way. All right, and I know this is kind of off the beaten path for me because normally I like to talk non-gender specific. But this is something that interests me, and I'm sure it might interest you. And if you're a woman, it still might interest you. All right, if you're a man and you're talking to another man or another woman and you're talking about another man, and let's say she brings up her boyfriend or some other guy that she's interested in, and you sit there and you talk crap about him. Well, all you're doing is making that bad boy decision. Now she's thinking he's the bad boy. That other company, now that company's the bad boy. That's the cool company. That's your competition. You give your competition credit by talking bad about it. You weaken the competition by not talking bad about it. What you want to do to weaken the competition, I'm giving you guys all the secrets here, guys, on how to make a sale and also how to convince a woman to stop looking at the other guy and start looking at yourself, right? What you need to do is when you're talking to the woman or the person or even a man about the competition, you simply got to say, that guy over there or that company over there, that's a great company. And you might even say a little sarcastically. You can go, that's a great company over there. Like you know something they don't know. You can do that, all right? But you got to do it sneaky. And if they say, hey, do you know something about this? Say, hey, I don't know anything. From everything that I can see, that individual or that company is great. And you should definitely, no problems with them. And then you start working on your own situation. Say, hey, why don't you join us in our company? Why don't you join me out for dinner? Why don't you come on over to my house and hang out with me, go to a movie, blah, 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 whatever. It's the same principle, guys. It translates over. This is one of the very few things. A lot of things don't translate over well in sales. I was a salesperson, and when I was single and I tried to use my sales techniques at a bar, they don't translate well. Now, obviously, some people can use their sales techniques at bars and they translate over well, but a lot of them don't. The only one that I know for a fact that does translate over is don't talk bad about their boyfriend, their husband, whatever. I know that's now I'm getting in the shaky ground, right? But in the real world, guys, there's always competition, and you always shouldn't talk bad about them. In fact, if anything, you should build your competition up right before you swoop in and you take over, right? Remember, they come to you and they say, hey, I really love Apple phones, and Apple, obviously a lot of you guys out there love Apples. I know. No matter what I say, there's going to be somebody out there that's going to go and YouTube land going, I love apples and you're making fun of apples. Well, reverse it. Let's say the guy comes in and says, I love Androids, and you sell Apple phones, right? You go to him and you immediately start saying, Android's the worst operating system ever. It's so buggy. Anybody can get an app on there. You can get a virus, blah, blah, blah. You go all this list of reasons why you shouldn't buy an Android. Stop doing that. All right, give them the list of why you should buy an Apple. Say, look, Apple is highly engineered. Apple has the newest phone. Apple is elegant. All the reasons why. All the celebrities take Apple. Only the cool people have Apple. You can do all those reasons why you should buy an Apple. Apple is simplistic. Apple works. Apple is solid, has less viruses. Go through all the reasons why you should buy an Apple versus all the reasons, and don't even focus on all the bad stuff about Android. They already know all the bad stuff about Android. They know it inside and out. That's the same thing when you're talking about the competition. When you're trying to get them to buy from a different company, and you walk up to your customer and you say, hey, I'm trying to get you to buy from a different company, the customer already knows all the reasons why they shouldn't buy from that company. They're buying from them, but they also know all the good reasons about that company. So you don't want to get in an argument about that customer. They almost know more about that company they're already buying from than you do, right? Your best thing to do is just go, that's a great company. Or if it's a girl or let's say a beautiful woman says, your friend Tom's pretty cute, right? And you're like, Tom's a great guy. Now, how about we talk? And then you say, hey, want to come hang out with me? Want to come get a drink? You don't sit there and go, you know what? Tom, you know what you don't know about Tom? Tom's a ladies' man. Tom, oh yeah, Tom's been around, blah, 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 right? And the whole time she's thinking to herself, wow, you're really that scared of Tom? Tom intimidates you that much that you have to undercut him? Tom, oh, what? And then she's thinking about Tom. This whole time she's thinking about Tom. It's the same thing with the customer. The whole time when you're talking all about the other company, all the customer's thinking about is the other company. They're not thinking about your product. They're not thinking about you. They're not thinking about your offerings. It's the same thing with women. All right, when you're talking bad about the other prospect or the other individual, all they're doing is you're creating a legend in their mind because you're afraid of it. Even whatever credibility you have, you're actually giving to the other company or the other individual that you're like, let's make this PC. I'm trying to make it PC. I'm trying to make it politically correct. I'm trying to get my my blue check mark on Twitter. All right, let's make it political. Let's say I'm talking to a woman and she's dating another woman, And she says, well, my girlfriend is, see, there you go. Now I'm politically correct because I'm hitting on a woman who, I don't know, whatever. Anyway, I'm talking to a girl and she's talking about how great the woman that she came in with, and your response, and you know the woman she came with, and the woman she came in with is a complete player and she's just using her, and you're like, your first temptation is to go, you know, Jane over there, let me tell you about Jane. Jane's a horrible person. You're the 5th girl to come walking in here with her. Jane's just got off of drugs. Jane, blah, 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 blah. All these horrible things about Jane, right? No, don't do any of that, all right? What you need to do is you need to say, Jane's pretty good. Think something positive about Jane. Say it, and then move on. Immediately move into your sales presentation. What your sales presentation is, hey, come hang out with me. Let's go have some fun. Let's go take a drink. Let's hang out. Let's go play some pool. Let's go to a movie. Let's go do something, right? That's your technique, right? Stop worrying about the competition, all right? It's the same thing when you're trying to sell them. Same thing, same exact. These is one of the things that translates over so well. All right, between these two different worlds. It's very crazy. It's so interesting to me. Sales techniques are so fascinating to me. How you can persuade people to do things. It's also weird how a mind works. How it makes sense. Like logically, when you're thinking about it, you're thinking, well, it makes sense that I should talk bad about the competition so I can lower their value and raise my value. But it doesn't work like that, guys. When you lower their value, you're lowering your value. And really, you're building their value up. Because whatever credibility you had, you're giving it to them. I mean, even if that person thinks the worst of that other person, but they're still thinking about him, right? They're going, wow, Jane is such a horrible person. But then they're also thinking, but Jane's cute. And they're not thinking about you. They're not thinking about Curtis. They're thinking about Jane, right? They're thinking about whatever, all right? They're not thinking about what you want them to think about. You want to think about them. You want them to think about hanging out with you. You want them to think about all the great fun stuff you can do. Hey, let's go hang gliding. Let's go parachuting. Let's go do this. That's got nothing to do with Jane, right? Nothing to do with Jane, all right? When you're talking crap about Jane, that has everything to do with Jane. Now, Jane's a legend. Now you're telling her that, oh, she comes in with 5 girls all the time. Oh, well, Jane must be really cool with the ladies. Jane's super cool, right? Jane, you're building Jane up, you're tearing yourself down. Don't do it, guys. Plain and simple. Don't talk bad about the competition. You're just weakening your own game. And it's the same thing with sales. And that's what I told you. These things cross over. And this is a little bit different, a little bit weird, like dating advice. But we'll go back to the company. These things cross over, guys. A few things in sales cross over into dating and interpersonal stuff. And when they do, I'm going to tell you because it's fascinating to me when they do. Because they hardly ever do. Dating women and dating men and all these other things, it don't translate well over to sales. I know it doesn't seem like it should. I know a lot of people are going to get in the comments and disagree with me. Go ahead, disagree with me. But I'm just speaking from my personal experience as a sales manager and watching salespeople and watching what they do on the sales floor and versus what they do in a bar. It's a completely different situation. All right, and who's good in the bar might not necessarily be good in sales. Now, some people have good translates over. All right, but I've seen salespeople who are amazing, absolutely amazing selling stuff, but absolutely horrible on personal person, actually talking to individuals and attracting women, and vice versa. Women who attract men. You know what? That's classic example. You've got a woman who's not so attractive, who's on the phone making great sales, has that sexy phone voice, and she's just raking in the money. Obviously, she goes out to the bar. She's not going to do so well. Everything doesn't translate over. All right. Some things do translate over, and obviously you have the same thing with guys. Ugly guy goes to the bar, doesn't do as well because it's not translating over well. Even though he's a great salesperson, still doesn't translate over well. There's so many different aspects of this, but one of the crossovers is this. Talking bad about your competition. It is absolutely, and when I see, it's like whenever I see people making these fatal mistakes, I just want to yell at them because it's just like, and when they do it to me or they talk bad about me, I'm almost laughing because I know exactly what's going to happen to the competition. Whenever I'm the company they're talking bad about, and then I get a phone call from one of my customers, my customer calls me up and says, hey, you know, XYZ is going around talking a whole bunch of crap about you and your company. And I'm like, that is amazing. I know I'm going to get this sale. You know what happened? That person just called me and they basically have made a decision to buy from me. Now that person's basically switched over. Guys, that happens every single time. But you know what? It's like, to me, it's so insane to me that they do this because they're only hurting themselves. All right. And obviously never interfere with and you know, obviously not everybody's your enemy, but you know, the old saying goes is don't don't stop an enemy when they're making a mistake. But sometimes, sometimes your friends are the guys who are trying to undercut you, right? So you're like, you try to go and you try to tell them, listen, Tom, all right? It's just, I had this happen on sales floor where I'm a salesperson, another salesperson, and have that salesperson talk crap about me, right? To a customer. And I'm like, hey, we work at the same sales company, right? If you want to snake the customer, right? You want to snake my customers, at least do it with some finesse, man. I mean, don't come at me with this weak sauce, right? Don't come at me with weak game. You need to come at me with strong game, all right? It's like, it's ridiculous. I mean, I hung up the phone and I'm just yelling at this guy going, what is wrong with you? It's like, I could respect you if you were trying to snake it, but you're like, you're so stupid. And the thing is not only is he hurting himself, and he's trying to hurt me, but he's also hurting the company because he's hurting the overall company. The company looks bad when one sales rep is talking bad about another sales rep. You should always talk good. All right? If you're going to snake them, and obviously you shouldn't snake somebody else's customer. That's clear. But the thing that infuriated me the most is when someone tried to snake my customers and didn't even do it with finesse. I mean, if you're going to do something stupid, do it right. You know what I mean? Otherwise, just don't, it's like, God, I mean, but obviously the people who have to steal customers, the people who have to talk bad about the competition, the people who have to talk bad, the guys who have to talk bad about other guys and about other women and about other people, those are the guys who think that they have to do that in order to get the sale, in order to get the date, in order to get the woman. You don't have to do that, guys. If you want to brush up, you want to get better, you want to make more sales, you want to date more women, you want to date nicer women, you want to get married. Let's assume that all your motives are honest and you actually want to date a woman, get to know her, marry her, have kids, and all that good stuff. So I'm saying, obviously, you're trying to find the right woman, right? Don't go out there and talk bad about every other person or negativity. Negativity is almost the worst. I mean, almost any time that you use negativity, you're going to hurt yourselves. In sales, in chatting with other people, with other sales reps, with your boss, it's the same thing. It's the same thing about talking negative about employees. You should resist the urge. I know it's so hard. I know when you go and you talk to your boss and you're talking about another employee, it's so hard to go into your boss and not talk smack about the other employee. But you've got to resist those temptations. Talking bad about other people does not lift you up. You think that it does, but it doesn't. All right, it just doesn't. In almost every scenario, you're lowering yourself because you're getting tied in with their credibility. And if they've already got good credibility, then all you're doing is hurting your credibility by trying to trade whatever little credibility you have to minus off their huge amount of credibility. And guess what? That takes you to zero, and they still have credibility. They still win. Then their credibility goes right back up to normal, and then you're completely done. This is a fact, guys. I've watched it 1,000 times. It'll happen 1,000 times more. Do not talk bad about competition. I've told my sales reps that for years, and a lot of them realized it. They've used it. They've used that technique to make sales, and they've also used that same exact technique when they're at the bar trying to find a significant other. Same thing. This is one of the very few techniques that it literally translates over 100%. Do not talk bad about other people. It is horrible game. It is horrible game. It is horrible in sales. It's horrible in life. Plus, it's also, guys, what you get in the universe is what you put out. If you put out positivity, you put out yourself as positive, you put out the world as positive, positivity will come back to you. You need to think about what you're doing before you do it. If you're always positive, you're always saying positive things about people are going to want to be around you. People are going to naturally move towards you. All right, but if you're always talking bad about all the companies, you're also programming your own brain with this negativity. It's going to affect you, and it's going to make you worse. All right, you need to stay focused on your goals. You need to stay positive. And when you talk to your customers, when you talk to your other sales reps, when you talk to your boss, when you talk to the pretty girl at the bar or the pretty guy at the bar, maybe you're a guy who likes guys, maybe you're a girl who likes guys, whatever. When you talk to the other person, stay positive. Don't talk crap about other people. It is a huge waste of your time, and it hurts you with your customer, with your friend, with your boss, with your significant other, with a strange girl that you met at the bar, or with the strange dude that you met at the bar. It's only gonna hurt you. It's only gonna make things not turn out the way you want them to turn out. Guys, I want everybody to be positive. I want everybody to succeed as best they can. Obviously, I know not everyone can succeed in every situation. But guys, if you're watching this video, I want you to succeed. If you're not watching this video, then the people watching this video are coming for you. All right? You guys have a great day. Thank you for tuning in, and I really appreciate it. Oh, before we hang up the phone, press the like button. Press the subscribe button if you haven't already been a subscriber. If you are a subscriber, thank you so much for subscribing. I have so few subscribers right now, but I am getting so many coming in and so many great comments below. If you don't agree with this sales presentation, this sales techniques, please explain to me why I'm wrong. I would love to hear it. And if you do agree with it, tell me I'm awesome and that you love my video. I appreciate it. Subscribe, like, and I'll see you in the next one.